friend bought a house, someone from college got promoted, someone else got married, another person is traveling through Japan, someone is launching a startup, someone just had a baby, someone is posting about their dream life. The person puts the phone down, looks around their apartment, everything seems fine, and yet something feels wrong. You might be doing better than you ever imagined. You have a job, you have somewhere to live, people who care about you, maybe you've even achieved things your younger self would have been proud of, and yet you still feel behind. Behind who, you couldn't say. Behind what, you don't know. You just know that somewhere, someone your age is doing better. Someone is earning more, living somewhere nicer, getting married earlier, traveling more, building something bigger, and somehow their life has become evidence that yours isn't moving fast enough. The strange thing is, nobody gave you this timeline. Nobody sat you down and told you exactly when your life was supposed to happen, but somehow you know. By 30, you should have achieved something. By 35, something else. By 40, you should be somewhere, and if you're not, you feel like you've missed a train. But here's the question, who decided there was a train? For most of human history, there was no way to know whether you were falling behind millions of other people. You couldn't see their houses, their salaries, their marriages, their vacations, their achievements. You knew the people around you, and that was about it. Then something changed. Humanity invented a way to see almost everyone, and suddenly, the comparison never ended. You don't feel behind because you're failing. You feel behind because you can now see an infinite number of people who appear to be ahead, and the more successful the people you see, the more successful you believe you should be. This is the story of how humanity went from comparing ourselves with the people next door to comparing ourselves with the entire planet, and why, no matter how far you go, there will always be someone ahead. Imagine being born into a small human community thousands of years ago. Your world might contain a few dozen people, perhaps a few hundred. You knew them. You knew who was strong, who was clever, who was respected, who was good at hunting, who was a skilled craftsman, who had influence. You knew who was ahead and who wasn't. Humans have always compared themselves. This isn't a modern invention. It is deeply embedded in us because comparison was useful. If someone in your group was better at finding food, you paid attention. If someone was stronger, you noticed. If someone had more influence, you understood the social hierarchy. Comparison helped you answer an ancient question, where do I stand? But there was something very important about this ancient world. The comparison had a boundary. You could compare yourself with your community, but you couldn't compare yourself with everyone. There was no billionaire living on another continent whose life you could observe every morning. No celebrity, no influencer, no stranger with a perfect body, no 25-year-old entrepreneur announcing their latest success to millions. Your social world was physically limited, and that limitation mattered. If you were the best hunter in your village, you were the best hunter in your world. If you were a respected craftsperson, your reputation existed within the people who knew you. Your identity had a natural scale. Then humans began to move, trade connected communities, cities grew, kingdoms expanded, people encountered strangers from distant places. The comparison group became larger, but it still had limits. You might hear about a powerful king, a wealthy merchant, a famous warrior, but they remained stories. You couldn't watch their lives, you couldn't compare your Tuesday morning with theirs, and that distinction would become enormous. Because humans don't compare themselves with abstract information, we compare ourselves with visible examples, and eventually, technology made those examples impossible to escape. The first major transformation came when information began traveling faster than people. Newspapers brought distant lives into your home. Photographs showed you people you'd never meet. Advertising introduced you to lifestyles you had never imagined. For the first time, ordinary people could look at strangers and want what they had, but even then, comparison remained limited. Then came mass media, radio, cinema, television. Suddenly, millions of people were watching the same lives. Actors, athletes, celebrities, the wealthy, the beautiful, the successful. The world began presenting humans with something evolution had never prepared us for. An endless supply of people who appeared to be doing better, but there was still a difference. You turned off the television and the comparison ended. Then came the internet, and eventually, the smartphone. Now, comparison could follow you everywhere. Your childhood friend gets married, someone from college buys a house, a stranger your age becomes a millionaire, someone you've never met runs a marathon, another person has the perfect relationship, another has the perfect body, another has the perfect career, and all of them appear to be living at the same time. This created something completely new, not competition with one person, competition with everyone. You are no longer comparing your life with your neighbor, you're comparing it with the best moments of millions of people, and you're doing it every day. But here's the trick. You don't see reality, you see selection, you see someone's promotion, not the years they spent miserable at work. You see the wedding, not the relationship problems, the new house, not the debt, the vacation, not the anxiety that came before it. You are comparing your entire life with the most carefully edited moments of everyone else's, and somehow you believe you're losing, but something even stranger happens. Imagine you finally achieve the thing you wanted. You get the promotion, you buy the house, you reach the salary you dreamed about. For a moment, you feel successful, then you look around. And suddenly, the finish line has moved, because there is always someone ahead. This isn't a flaw in your character, it's a feature of comparison itself. The human brain is extremely sensitive to relative position. Not just am I doing well, but am I doing better or worse than the people around me? And modern life has created a comparison group with no natural limit. There is always a richer person, a younger person, a more attractive person, a more successful person, a more interesting person, a person who started earlier, a person who got lucky, a person who seems to have figured everything out. No matter how high you climb, the internet can always show you someone higher. This creates one of the strangest psychological experiences of modern life. You can objectively move forward while emotionally feeling stationary. Your salary increases, your skills improve, your life becomes more comfortable, but your reference group improves faster, so you feel behind. This is why someone earning twice as much as they did 5 years ago can still feel unsuccessful, because success isn't experienced in absolute terms, it is experienced relative to the people you can see. And the most dangerous part is that the people you compare yourself with aren't even necessarily real. They're curated, filtered, selected, optimized. You don't compare yourself with someone's life, you compare yourself with their presentation of life. And then you use that comparison to judge your own reality. Perhaps that's why modern success can feel strangely empty. The moment you reach one destination, you discover another, not because your ambitions are wrong, but because the world has given you an infinite number of people to compare yourself against. And there is something else, something even more unsettling. The people you compare yourself with are often not even the people who matter most. Your brain evolved to care about the opinion of a small community. But today, you can spend an entire afternoon worrying about the opinion of someone who doesn't know you exist. A stranger on the other side of the planet has somehow become part of your self-worth. And you never agreed to that. Maybe the most important thing about modern comparison is that it feels like a race, but it isn't. There is no shared finish line. No universal schedule, no moment when everyone arrives. Life only looks like a race when you stand far enough away and turn millions of individual lives into a single timeline. But look closer, the person you think is ahead may be desperately trying to escape their own life. The person you think is behind may be exactly where they want to be. The person who seems successful may be lonely. The person who seems certain may be terrified. The person who appears to have everything figured out may be looking at someone else, wondering why they're behind. That's the absurdity. Everyone is looking sideways. Everyone thinks everyone else is ahead, and almost nobody feels like they're winning. Perhaps that's because winning was never the point. Comparison was originally a tool, a way to understand your place in a small community, but we took that ancient instinct and connected it to the entire planet. Now the question, how am I doing, has become impossible to answer, because compared to whom, maybe the only comparison that ever made sense was the one we stopped making. Not with the stranger on your phone, not with the person from college, not with the billionaire, not with the influencer, but with the person you used to be, the child you were, the person who once imagined the life you now live. Because somewhere inside the endless race, there is a strange possibility you may not actually be behind, you may simply be looking at the wrong scoreboard. The world will always have someone richer, someone younger, someone faster, someone more successful, someone who arrived earlier, someone who seems to have figured it all out. There will always be someone ahead. And if you build your identity around catching them, you will spend your entire life running toward a finish line that doesn't exist. Because maybe the greatest illusion of modern life is that we're all supposed to arrive at the same place. At the same time, we're not, we never were. And perhaps the reason you feel like everyone is ahead of you isn't because you're falling behind. It's because, for the first time in human history, you can see everyone else's race while forgetting that you were never running theirs. Maybe your life isn't late, maybe it isn't early.